I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 15th, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone would please rise and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Gary Merrill, our Vice President. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Cy Keeley, the Assistant Administrator, is sitting in for Farzan Ahmed. And our clerk today is, I was going to say Jennifer Wyman, but she's over there. Sarah, if you could start us off.
Resolution number 17-610, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held June 12, 2017.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-610. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment today. Resolution number 17-611, in the matter of approving purchase orders, bid and out certificates, and payments of warrants and batch number CMAPR 0614.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-611. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-612, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-612. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-613, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application to SourcePoint of Delaware County for the Guardianship Visitation Program and the Tours Program Grant for the Delaware County Juvenile and Probate Court.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Good morning, Karen Watkins, Fiscal Coordinator for the Probate and Juvenile Court. The first proposal that we have submitted to SourcePoint is for our Guardianship Visitor Program. This supports the visitors to go into the, we have 523 persons under guardianship currently in Delaware County, and this program sends a visitor out to review the cases and be sure that the wards are safe and in the least confining opportunity. This is the first year that we are asking for funds greater than $10,000, so we had to go through the general grant request. I have the brochures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This describes just a little bit more work as to what the guardianship program does. The second through SourcePoint is for the Tours program. This is where we take youths out into the community. They assist those over the age of 55 completing yard work, things around the home that people of that demographic aren't able to do on their own. Last year, we served 117 clients and completed 2,000 service hours to the community.
How long have these programs been in place and funded?
Since at least 2002. We've always received money for the Tours program. The Guardianship program is very new still. We completed a first year at the end of 2016. We are currently halfway through our 2017 program. This is the first time that we're asking for a general grant rather than a mini grant.
Okay. What do you think the odds are?
We're very hopeful. We had a very good monitoring visit with them. They actually suggested that we go for the larger grant award given the importance of the program.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-613. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-614, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application to the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for the Delaware County Family Treatment Court Program for the Delaware County Juvenile and Probate Court.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
This is an ongoing program that we've had with the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. It's a flat rate fund. It supports our treatment court coordinator. Last year we graduated 3 adults and 12 juveniles through the program, and so far we have 4 adults and 2 juveniles that have also completed the treatment court program.
Okay. How do you think, confident you'll get this one?
Yes, we are. It's been a flat rate fund for several years. It supports the treatment court docket. It's very specialized, and we're currently going through our Supreme Court certification process for the docket.
Yeah, that treatment court has been a great program, so it's good.
Yes, it has.
Something will continue. Vote?
Vote on motion 17-614. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Romero?
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dan.
Item number 8 has been pulled from the agenda today. So it takes us to page 180. Resolution number 17-615, in the matter of approving the sanitary and sewer improvement plan for Orange Point out parcels.
So moved.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fromer, sanitary engineer. Basically, the plans are to provide sewer service to one of the Orange Point commercial parcels right along 23. There's further development back in that development area. So, but this was one of the last parcels that didn't have sewer, and they're needing to bring it across 23. So, we're recommending approval.
Where is it, Mike, exactly?
It's right on 23 across from the Orange Township Park area. And it's the commercial park across, the Orange Park Commercial Park that's on the west side. I'm sorry, on the east side of
East side.
23.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
back in there's like a laser craze and a soccer place. and-
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
That'd be good to get those parcels developed. Vote?
Vote on motion 17-615. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-616, in the matter of accepting a permanent sanitary easement and 2 temporary construction easements from Nelson Farm Associates,
So moved.
LLC.
Second.
All right, I think we got a motion and a second.
I think I heard you.
Yes.
All right, Sarah, we're good?
So moved. Yeah.
All right, discussion.
These easements are needed for the Liberty Sawmill trunk line. We had made a little bit of adjustment in Nelson Farms on how we were bringing that line through, and these are easements that the developer is giving us to make that work, so recommending approval.
Okay, vote?
Vote on motion 17-616. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Resolution number 17-617, resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of automobiles for the use of the Delaware County Code compliance.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Fred Fowler with Code Compliance, and would like your approval to add a new vehicle to our fleet. Many of our vehicles, as you know, are recycled sheriff cruisers, and those seem to be getting older as we receive them and higher mileage, so we'd like to replace a 2005 model that we have in our fleet with a newer vehicle.
You said add, but you meant replace, correct?
Replace, yes.
Add always concerns me.
I'm sorry, replace a current vehicle, yes.
So that vehicle will go out of service. The one you're replacing will go out of service?
Yes.
Okay, vote?
Vote on motion 17-617. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred?
Resolution number 17-618, in the matter of approving amendment number 2 to the indefeasible right of use agreement between the Consolidated Electric Cooperative and Delaware County for fiber optic cable.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Lewis with the Data Center. Nice job, Sarah, pronouncing that. She told me yesterday she wasn't looking forward to saying that word. I told her it was Eric's fault. This is basically an amendment to an agreement we had back in 2011 that would allow the county to utilize some of Consolidated's fiber optic assets to connect some of our facilities and also potentially some other public agencies.
Yeah, it seems like a good deal, and
Yes.
expanding our fiber is very important for a lot of reasons, economic development primarily. All right, take a vote?
Vote on motion 17-618. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Resolution number 17-619, public hearing under Chapter 349. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're not quite at...
We could
I-
do-
not yet.
We've got a board appointment, don't we? That we could do?
2, actually. Oops, just one.
Transit board?
Reuse that number. Resolution number 17-619, in the matter of approving an appointment for the Delaware County Transit Board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Si, anything you...
That's you, Si.
Your name attached to it
Right.
in Jane's absence?
Yeah.
Oh,
We would like to recommend Jacob Faulkner to the Board of the Transit.
Data
The
board.
data board. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate Jacob volunteering to serve on that board. It's a very important organization for the county, and there's a lot of things going on there. So.
Right. I think he's very interested in community service.
Yeah.
And in particular, transportation, which we need good transportation for those who cannot get around, who don't have a car, and or for whatever reason can't drive. So.
He's a young person, but I think he'll take the job very seriously, and you probably know him better than we do because of your past involvement with him. And, but I think he will do a good job.
Very important
Yes,
organization.
I do too. Right. It is very important.
Okay, take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-619. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
I think that's it, other than the hearing and then the interviews
Other than,
at the executive session. So,
what about?
Yeah, so we may as well go ahead and just go to the administrative reports.
I do have something.
Okay, all right, Si.
We have been recognized by AEP for our lighting upgrade projects that was completed in the Hayes Building last year through the AEP Grid Smart program, and I would like to thank Randy Ormroyd for spearheading this project.
Okay, good.
Great.
As a result of the project, we will save 26.4 kilowatt hours or 81.8 tons of CO2 annually. And that's all I have.
That's it. All right, you're not going to comment on the picture frame?
No. I'm making use of the IKEA picture frame.
All right, Commissioner Merrill.
I have several things. First of all, attended the Rotary Taste of Delaware City last night. Very, very well attended. A lot of people that you would know as well that were walking the streets participating. It's a significant fundraiser for Delaware Rotary, and I think it's year number 2 and did very good. So I know you guys had commitments this year, but hopefully you can participate next year. I'll be happy to sell you a ticket. Monday, I had the opportunity to introduce our county auditor at Rotary, and when your county auditor who talks about math and figures and numbers, I had 2 people tell me how much they enjoyed it. So it takes a special effort to make that interesting. But we're lucky to have George as our county auditor. He does a terrific job and did a terrific job in presenting, and he represented our county extremely well. I do have 2 other things regarding legislation.
Yes. Oh, good.
And first one, the last amendment on the F5, and Mr. Lewis, you may know a little bit about this. It's now the last amendment. The 10 largest counties will be asked to volunteer or participate, and it'll be volunteer for the other 77 counties.
Right.
Based on population. But it wasn't clear in this, and I did pose the question to Cheryl at CCO, and I did not have an answer. Is it going to be based on the 2010 census, or is there going to be some estimate made? But with the help of Sarah, we did a little research. I think we're safe either way.
Okay.
Currently, if you base it on the 2010 census, we were 13th. If you base it on what we would estimate our current population to be, and my estimate, I would hit it, I don't know. I said, I'm going to guess about 13 to 14. And if you base it on what we believe our current population would be, 200,000, number 10 on the census from 2010 was Warren County at 217. So it would look like we will be able to do it voluntarily or not at all.
Or not at all. Right.
If it goes down the road it's currently traveling. So I don't know if you've heard that yet or not. Or
Yes, and that's what the Senate did, and then the House.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that'll be. That's where we are right now.
We'll see what happens in the conference committee.
But CCO is fairly optimistic that it's the road that would be traveled, but as you know, this stuff's all very fluid.
Sure. I would agree that I think the Senate version will probably prevail.
And the other, on very short notice, I attended the Legislative Senate Finance Committee meeting yesterday at 10:30, and probably one of about, I'm going to say 12 to 15 commissioners throughout the state. and 3 commissioners spoke. From Medina County, Commissioner Bill Hudson, and now I feel obligated to mention the other 2 by name. Adele Miller, who is a county council member from Cuyahoga County, and the 3rd was from Gallia County, Harold Montgomery, and they spoke in behalf of the MCO treating the counties equitably. And they did a good job. But I just want to give a shout-out to Senator Matt Dolan from Chagrin Falls. He made a very eloquent argument that, out of fairness to the counties, this needs to be addressed. In fact, the 3 representatives of the commission, one was rural, one was suburban, and one was urban. And his point was all areas of the county, population-wise, are saying the same thing. This has to be adjusted. And Senator Dolan has taken a lead role in trying to get that done. 2 other members of the Finance Committee, Senate Finance Committee, Senator Tavares from Columbus and Senator Stites from Akron, also verbalized their support. So we can only hope. And of course, ultimately, the governor has to hopefully see his way to support the counties as he should. And so that's kind of where we are, and we'll see where it takes us.
Boy, yeah, still a lot could happen on that.
Well,
including with the governor.
Well, the governor's office has not shown a willingness to be supportive to this point. Hopefully that changes.
He could line item veto that, couldn't he? In the budget, yeah. Hopefully not.
I don't want to give him any ideas, although
yeah.
I'm sure he's already thought of that.
Yeah.
It'll be disappointing if the governor were to do that, assuming it got that far.
Right.
This is a time we should be working together.
Right.
That point was made by the commissioners. The point was made that we're asking to share some of the burden on the voting machines, and you can go down the list. Local government funds have been cut, state. You just go down the list, and it's time the state reciprocate and show some support. And I believe 86 of the 88 counties have sent a letter or resolutions to the effect they support this, so it's almost unanimous throughout the state.
Well, that's great.
So,
Do you know when the Senate's going to vote on the budget?
that wasn't stated yesterday. I doubt they know yet.
Yeah, I doubt they have a final date.
Okay.
So,
Got to be done before the end of the month.
I would encourage all of us to remind our
Right.
House members and our senator why this is important, and because it is important. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Lewis?
Well, I received a compliment for George, our county auditor, in his presentation that you just spoke about, Commissioner Merrill. It was from Brandon Feller, head of United Way, and said that his presentation, George's presentation, was excellent, learned a lot, and I said, we're very lucky to have Auditor Keitza. And so it must have been a great meeting, too.
And Joe Pemberton, who will be a future president, I think in 2 years on the board, he, when I was away, he had cupcakes made and had AAA put on the cupcakes for the IFIC, which is a nice touch.
Yes, right.
So in my comments when I introduced George, I said, if we have the county coroner speak, what's Joe going to do as far as, is it going to break the corpse, or
Little coffins on there?
or if a veterinarian was to speak, we're going to have puppies for everybody or whatever. But it was well handled, and George did an exceptional job,
Yeah.
as he always does.
That's great. That's it.
Just a couple of things, and we want to get into our hearing. Going to a MODE, luncheon, MODE, Mid-Ohio Development Enterprise Exchange tomorrow about economic development opportunity programs, that are available for economic development. We are meeting with Star Consultants individually, talk about the facilities master plan, their update on that. That should be very interesting, since we've got a lot of facilities ideas and a lot of movement in that arena. over the coming years, so it'll be very important to get a good plan in place. I did go to a downtown Delaware parking advocacy committee meeting on Monday, and that was also very interesting. There are a lot of parking challenges, as we all know, in downtown Delaware. And there are a lot of good people working on that, trying to figure out ways to make parking in downtown Delaware a little easier. So that's good. Commissioner Merrill talked about the budget. There are a lot of things in the Senate version of the budget that are interesting. We've covered probably the big ones. The one other one that's kind of, well, indigent defense, they're targeting 45% reimbursement rate, which should be up a little bit from where we are today from the state.
The goal is 50-50.
Yeah, the goal is 50-50, because it was originally, I think, 75-25 or something like that, and they've declined it over the years where the counties pick up a bigger share, so they're trying to get it back.
It was originally 50.
Was it originally
Yeah.
50?
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe
they're
so.
trying to get back to that.
Well, it was a fixed amount, so when the need exceeded the dollars, it got spread over a little thinner, so it didn't turn out to be 50-50. It turned out to be less than that.
One other little thing in there, in the Senate version, which I think will survive the House version and be signed into law, is that the Board of County Commissioners' deadline for organizing is not, it doesn't have to be done the second Monday in January, it just has to be done by the second Monday in January. So that means we could do it maybe even in December. We're trying to figure out if we could do it earlier when we set the calendar. So anyway, that's just a little thing, but that could be helpful.
Probably have to have new commissioners in place, I'm going to guess, but I'm guessing, I don't know that.
Yeah. Just one last thing. U.S. Open coverage starts at 11. It goes from 11 to 6. So if you haven't set your DVRs, you want to rush home and do that. It's a 7-hour. It's 7 hours of U.S. Open golf coverage, and it replays at 6. So if you miss the coverage, you can still watch it at 6. It's on Fox Sports 1. All right, that's enough of that, and we will move into the hearing.
Yes. Resolution number 17-620, public hearing under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code for the establishment of the Evans Farm NCA as a new community authority.
So, second?
Discussion?
Take your pick.
Oh, we got to vote to open the hearing. That's right. Okay, we'll take a vote to open the hearing.
Vote on motion 17-620. Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-621, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-621. Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
The hearing has opened, and we would entertain any speakers who would wish to speak on behalf of this petition.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Emmett Kelly. I'm with the law firm Frost Brown Todd. I represent Evans Farm Land Development Company, LLC. I was the one that filed the petition before you on behalf of that client. And other than questions, I don't intend to speak because I'm going to let Mr. Griffin come up here and give you a presentation on the what's happening at the development. Of course, available for any questions. I know I've spoken with Eric and Bob, and everyone's been great, cooperative, and we've had a lot of good discussion. And I know you may have questions. I'm happy to answer any of them.
Questions for Mr. Kelly? Nothing.
Not right now.
Okay,
No.
nothing for right now. Turn it over to Dan.
That's good because they want me out of here. I'm on the clock.
$20 an hour, it's expensive.
$20. Got a raise.
Tony and I wanted to give you guys an update of where we are, because it's exciting for us, obviously. We are getting closer and closer to getting Section 1 in. We believe the county will be approving the Section 1 plans today or tomorrow, is what we've heard. So we're excited about that. We're working now with 47 businesses to go in this village center. So that's, a vibrant village center that we believe will, and so we're hiring architects right now. We're working with local contractors to get that group ready to get this village, the commercial village, up sooner than later. We'll hear in the next couple days, hopefully, again, with the plans being signed from the BIA for the 2018 show. And of the 142 lots in Section 1, counting the BIA show and the individuals that have reserved lots, they're pretty much gone, sold. So moving on to Section 2 and the, we're just excited about it, getting it out of the ground and starting to see some vertical construction starting. So if we want to add anything to that, we just wanted to let you guys know it's close. It's that close, and we're excited about it. And thank you for supporting Evans Farm, as always. It's a good project, I think, for the region. So.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
I don't know if I have any questions. Well, I'll just, the BIA parade, everything's looking good for that. I don't see make more clear. Just, it's looking positive. It's, in fact, going to occur next year.
Morning, I'm Tony Ironman. We, in conversations both with Jim Hills, and I don't know if you've read, but Jim is resigning at the end of the month, and with Bruce Burkholder, their legal counsel, as recently as yesterday, all they're waiting for is signed engineering plans to award us that. Jim would like to have it wrapped up before he leaves at the end of the month, so it's a nice tidy package to pass on to whomever success follows him. But yeah, all they're waiting for is signed engineering plans.
That'd be great to have the parade again in Delaware County.
Well, yes, wow.
I've spent I want to acknowledge Bob Williams spent a lot of time with me, bringing me up, answering a lot of questions I had about the new community authority. This one's a little unique in some aspects, but each one is a little unique, and educating me on just what new community authorities are, what their purpose is, what their uses are, limits, powers, et cetera. And so Bob was very helpful to bring me up to speed on it. And we've got 6, I think, in Delaware County today, and this would be the 7th or thereabouts. So again, they serve a good purpose to make sure that the infrastructure gets done and properly financed and so on. So anyway, it's something I will support. And again, I've learned a lot about it, and this one, seems to be a good one. So. Any other comments or questions?
Yes. Could I just get clarification on, I believe there are some amendments that were offered by the developer that are different than we usually have. The one, Section 5, at the end of Section 5. And I guess, Eric, if you could speak to that. And then we have the 3 other amendments, or Sections 8, 9, and 10. I don't know if you'd call that an amendment, but I mean just part of the agreement.
No, probably not an amendment, just some terms that are different from our standard
Yes.
resolution granting a petition. You're referring to the last sentence of Section 5, starts as permitted by Section 349.04. That provides for the successor trustees for this community authority board of trustees to be appointed by the original appointing authority. So it would be the developer and the commissioners. That's as opposed to the statutory framework, which allows for or provides for the replacement of trustees by elected members when certain population thresholds are met. There is, I can think of one example where we provided for this exact setup, and that was in the Berkshire Landing Community Authority, which was approved in 2015. We provided in that community authority that the successor trustees would be appointed by the original appointing authorities, not replaced by elected trustees.
And that's because there weren't residents in that?
In that particular community authority, the district was, I think the petition called for there to be eventually 500 residents, but there was nothing planned as of the date that there was no residential component to that development.
There was also some, I know that one of the considerations at that time for the Berkshire Landing was that there was obviously some considerable county investment in, direct investment in that development. I know that that was a concern as well. So this is entirely up to the board to decide. I don't have a recommendation one way or the other. If representatives from the developer would like to explain their reasoning for including that in the petition, that would probably be good for the board to hear so they can make an informed decision.
Yeah, okay.
You want me to speak to that?
Sure.
Yes,
That's good comment. Good question.
Ask on this, too.
We had, again, this is Emmett Keller with Frost Brown Todd. We had put that provision in because of the long-term planning for the development of this NCA, that the developers invested for the whole term of that and wanted to be invested in each one of the phases. Right now, Dan, how many phases do you have?
Depending on the market, we have, I think, 17 individual phases that are cut out into the residential. We think it would go somewhere between 10 and 12 years to do it. Obviously, for us, it's important as well. We agree with the townships. It is long-term maintenance programs for street trees and all the other things in the NCAs.
Yeah, so the developer will be tied in with its agreements under the zoning with the township, and so wants to participate through those full terms.
And just to clarify what I believe I already know, 4 of the 7 is appointed by the county, 3 by the...
Yeah.
Correct.
And we obviously have a property owner that owns a lot of land there that's going to want to stay, make sure that it's maintained properly for the long term. So we think this is a good way to secure the county and us for this project's success.
And Eric, I think you're comfortable with this language?
Yeah, I actually provided the exact language. That was from a previous resolution that we had done. So, yeah, I'm fine with the language. I don't have a recommendation one way or the other.
I do have some questions, too, on Section 8, 9, and 10. And it just seems, those sections seem very constraining. Dissolution of the authority is hereby prohibited, this is 8, unless each of the Board of Trustees of the authority and the developer consents to such dissolution. To have it be each member, that's what that says? So you have to have a unanimous vote?
Yes.
What's the rationale?
The statute that discusses the dissolution of the authority, again, allows for an election based on a petition of residents of the district. There are some safeguards in that statute regarding you could not dissolve it until the development plan has been concluded. You also could not dissolve it unless there were no outstanding security obligations. So this is a provision that I don't recall us ever including. We have in the past entered into agreements between the county commissioners and other authority boards of trustees to not allow the change of a development plan unless all of the parties consent, including the developer. We have done that in the past, but in terms of dissolution, I'm not aware of us ever including a provision like this.
Yeah, I question that one. And then also Section 9, the organizational documents of the authority, including without limitation the petition, and this resolution may not be amended, again, unless each of the Board of Trustees of the authority and the developer consents to such an amendment. It just seems, again, that's too high a bar.
Well, on Section 9, I do have a recommendation for you. I do not see the harm in, and there's actually statutory protections against amendment of the organizational documents. In fact, once the community authority has been established by this board, I don't think that you would want to have any part in any kind of amendment of the organizational documents of the authority. However, you will want to be free to alter your resolutions and not require approval from third parties if you wish to amend your resolution. So on that one, I do have a recommendation.
So you would say that stays?
No, I'm recommending that you do not include Section 9.
That we do not do Section 9?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Also, Section 10...
I agree with you.
Section 10...
excuse me, can I just make a comment there? Commissioner, and thank you, Eric. With respect to changes to the organizational board, or organizational documents and the petition, that can be changed in the future with adding or subtracting land as petitioned by the developer. Obviously, it has to come before this board in the same process that we're going through now. So there is some additional protection there. I think that's what Eric was alluding to.
Can I clarify something just because it's a good question, and in my mind, and we've done this before, in my mind, and correct me, Eric, if I'm wrong, protection is for, protection is for the long-term viability of this project. And so I don't think we ever want a situation where, and I know it's happened in case law with other NCAs, where all of a sudden boards change and people dissolve them, or people try to go a different route that's not conducive to the well-being of the region. It's all done for that developer or something. So this is almost a way for us to tell the townships, look, this long-term maintenance of these and all the things that we're sitting here is going to outlast. These documents need to outlast Tony and I's lives. They need to, they need to be there to secure the region and the county and this vision. So I'm always careful of trying to hear the language of everybody talking about it, the idea that somebody, it wouldn't take a majority, to change them, because we certainly don't want to change them. We want to make sure that somebody down the road after we're gone, and I know the property owners wouldn't want to disband the new community authority or have any, you don't want to take away the good that it's doing just for the benefit of some third party. So that's all I was worried about. I don't know how Emmett, you might from the legal side.
This, again, as I said, the protection there is already in the statute as well with respect to the developer putting forth any application to add or subtract land from the petition. And so that would be one of the ways to change the documents. The other document would be the declaration that's on the property, and that would require a supermajority of the owners of the land in the future to change that declaration, which the main thing in that declaration is the application of the 10 mills, which is the new community authority charge on the property that runs with the land.
Eric, could you restate again?
And thank you for letting me interject.
Thank you. Your objection to that. I still have a problem with it, Section 9.
The problem that I have is limited exclusively to this resolution. That's really the only part of this to which I object.
To Section 9 specifically?
Correct.
Okay.
So if the board, these were specifically separated out because these are terms that are not typically included in our resolution granting these petitions, and so I wanted to make sure to bring them to your attention so that you could do exactly what we're doing right now, discuss them and figure out what, if any, or maybe some other form that you want these provisions to take. I really don't have an objection to Section 8. Just understand that the protections against dissolution are already contained in the statute. So don't be too concerned about Section 8.
Okay.
Section 9, again, my only concern relates to amendment of the resolution. Having the board be bound or be prohibited from taking action to amend one of its own resolutions, obviously the statute provides a manner, as Mr. Kelly has indicated, how the petition itself can be amended. In addition, how additional land can be added to the district. That's all set out in the statute. The organizational documents to which I referred earlier are the declarations. In my opinion, I don't think the board should have any part in approving or disapproving of those declarations. So for Section 9, I don't really see the need for it.
Okay. Okay.
Any objection?
Could we approve it without Section 9? I mean,
Absolutely,
Just
Sure.
delete Section 9,
That's-
only Section 9.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Right,
sounds...
yes, yeah. I mean, I'd like to approve the whole resolution, but I just have these objections. And then if you could, Eric, address Section 10, because again, this is different than...
Section 10, my concern there is that it's a little vague for my taste. Normally, we would not just give open-ended authority for the board and the county administrator and other officials to take whatever action necessary to implement it. As items come up with regard to this petition in this community authority, they should come back before the board. That's my recommendation. And so I would recommend that you delete Section 10 as well.
Okay.
Because it's just, you argue it's too vague.
I could see that being a problem. We're going to start, as questions come up for decision, Section 10 could be interpreted multiple ways, and I really don't want to be in a position of trying to figure out whether a certain action taken is lawful or not. That's the concern I have, and so I would.
No, absolutely no objection.
Okay, so if we remove Sections 9 and 10, then you would agree to that?
Absolutely. And, this
Okay.
board has the powers
Yeah.
to make those decisions, so we're completely fine with that.
Eric, matter
So from what I'm hearing, you would like to keep Section 8.
you have no problem with that, is what I heard.
I don't really have a problem with Section 8.
Okay.
The statutory protections are going to...
I'm okay with
It's
8.
consistent with the statute, is that?
Well, it adds an extra layer of protection on top of the statute, and I don't have a problem with that. Again, the developer is putting a lot of investment into this project. The county is putting a lot of investment into this project. Having that extra layer of protection over top of the statutory protections, the last thing that we want to see is an election called and it be dissolved and there be, well, a fight over whether all of the statutory criteria have been met, and then even if they have, if there's some reason why the developer, the community authority, or the Board of County Commissioners does not want it to be dissolved, this is an appropriate backstop, in my opinion.
That's what I think I did too. I like that
Yeah.
backstop for all of us.
Question I have, do we have to come out of the hearing to amend this, or do we amend it in the hearing?
You haven't made a motion yet, so we can make sure that the language matches what the motion is. We'll be very clear about what the final resolution is going to state. If you want, we can take a brief recess to put together a clean copy for you to see before you make your motion. It would take about 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yes, me too.
That way there's no question down the road.
That way
Okay.
we're clear.
The only other question I have then is in relation to the last sentence of Section 5. Again, as I just stated, this is something that I did not call specifically to your attention, but I mentioned to Commissioner Lewis on the phone the other day that this is something we have done before, but it's not something that all of the community authorities in Delaware County have. I didn't want it to be something that just slipped in and becomes the regular course of action on all community authorities, so I wanted to call it specifically to your attention. But I do see some similarities in Berkshire Landing Community Authority, given the level of investment by the county in the project. This is a rather large project with a lot of public infrastructure. There's going to be some TIFs. So I do see some similarities. The big difference is that there is a large residential component to this development that was not present for Berkshire Landing. So I'll leave it up to the board to decide whether you want to maintain appointment authority for these boards of trustees or fall on the statute where trustees would be replaced by elected members. I'll leave that to the board to decide.
So, well,
To me, there's more safeguards if we leave it the way it's written.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree,
Yeah.
for all of us.
We all have a say in it, we or whoever sits in these seats down the road.
The original 4-3.
I'm stating it so you can confirm that I'm stating it correctly.
Yeah, I'll say, yes, I agree, instead of just nodding my head, sorry.
Yes, it will always be 4-3, absolutely.
The commissioners would have 4 appointees, 3 citizen members, and 1 local government representative. The
Okay.
developer would
Yeah.
have 3
Right.
appointees.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So it's just 9 and 10 then that we're talking about? Is that it?
Correct. So, I mean, if you're comfortable with having those just struck and having the renumbering done, we won't have to take a recess. We can just make sure that we're clear that that's what the motion is, and we'll make sure the journal reads that way. So
Thank you for the
So then
questions and
Section
discussion.
11 and 12 would be renumbered as 9 and 10.
Okay.
I think I would want a clean,
Sure, that's fine.
You're
I'm
right.
fine, too.
yeah.
Yeah, with
Because
that.
the old
Sure.
9 and 10 are gone, but there's going to be a new 9 and 10. I'd rather have a clean set to vote on.
Okay.
So who does that?
Jennifer will do that.
All right, yeah, all eyes are on Jennifer.
So we have a choice. We can, once we come out of this hearing, we can either recess for 10 minutes, complete this, or we can go in executive session and come back.
I do have 2 items of litigation to discuss in executive session, so I think this should take just a couple of minutes. We can probably just do a brief 5-minute recess and come back.
I would ask that you read the motion to end the hearing.
Okay. Resolution number 17-622, in the matter of closing the public hearing under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code for consideration of the establishment of the Evans Farm NCA as a new community authority.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-622. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. Okay, hearing is closed. Now we'll go in recess so we can rewrite the resolution, and then we'll
Is the hearing
reconvene.
closed or just, okay.
Hearing is
You
closed.
closed the public participation portion of the hearing.
Yes.
Now it's only left to make a decision.
No.
We can't take action during the
Recess.
until the hearing is closed, so. yeah.
Right.
Do you want to put a time on the recess, or do you?
I don't know how long Jennifer will take.
Let's say 25 minutes. 25 after, if it's later, it's okay. It
Yeah,
just can't be early.
yeah, okay, we'll make it 25 after. So, all right, we're in recess till 25 after. You've got your 11 o'clock.